talking about the art system. It is part of Dreamcatchers. Dreamcatchers is how basically large numbers sort of get understood or calibrated kind of thing. So what's going on there is basically we've in the last talk it was sort of like here's how we came to terms with very large numbers and how the very large numbers are structured and organized and how you can grow large numbers even more. But even in that growth, how you organize and arrange those large numbers sort of affects your efficiency groups and how this works. So basically, the world of innovative potential works on base 27. We're preparing for base 27. So 27 power of something will give you kind of what we're working with. Today is more about it's more in terms of it's more in terms of what we're actually going to talk about. That is how to not stall for time. Basically, I was opening up I wanted to talk about and show this graphic's fun. It's extremely graphic. It's what I was just talking about. Climbing in the corner. Climbing in the corner. Over here. I just sort of like describe what we're talking about. When I say big numbers, it's like big numbers. So it's basically, this is in terms and setup of a company, but it's basically the base to the power of the number, x to the power where x is in its 20s. And it's basically showing how the capacity, how basically my capacity is diluted in and amongst the growing number of people and why sort of people are. It's basically one of those why people are important kind of thing. And today is more along the lines of it's one of those report ones. But basically what we have here is sort of the achievement rank title system. It sounds like it's basically how innovative potential. It's like how how did you get to be you? Basically, this is sort of how we get to be. It's the stuff I went through. It basically starts. I went to state school. There's sort of like no real exceptional command in the literature type of stuff. A lot of it's observational. But basically, this is sort of the company. This is how it's structured. If you go back to the other picture, it's still it's functioning. This is essential sort of like ethos of innovative potential. It is like this combined with the 2022 update video. We go over what these corporate structures look like and why they look this way. And it's based and modeled off of basically an enzymatic function. So it's like it's there to do one thing. It manufactures. It produces the same result. It's like if you're familiar with a restaurant kitchen, we're there to manufacture these sets of dishes. We're not adding new dishes on the fly here. We have the stuff set up for this. We manufacture the dish goes out. We get the empty plate back in. It's like rinse, wash, and repeat. That's what it is. That's what it does in nature. That's what it does at innovative potential. That's what it does for you and for me. So basically, what this picture is showing is zoom in a bit on it. Okay. So what this picture is doing is showing you sort of the horizontal, what a company looks like, and what is it doing from the horizontal to the vertical. So like, what is a chain of command in the horizontal sense, and what is it in a vertical sense? So that's sort of like what to expect, what you're looking at, and what to expect. And just sort of how to function in a larger company setting, basically, and then on top of that, how to grow into a larger company setting, and it covers some of the logistics of like, okay, well we have maybe 12 people in our small business. We want to grow. There are basically, this structure holds up to 25 people in 4 to 5 small working groups, and it allows your company to grow along this projected thing. So it's like you're going to grow in like 5-person working groups 4 times, and then a 4-person working group once, and that's sort of like 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, and then go again. So that's how small businesses grow in scale and volume. And then on the other image, it's saying, okay, well then, instead of like, okay, well now we have 15, so we'll just keep repeating the patterns. Like, you're going to keep repeating the pattern, but you're going to do it as a separate company. Because when you complete a company, you're now moving into conglomerates. And that's a group of companies. So it's like, you might have like, if you're in a restaurant model, that's a good time to start franchising. Because you as the owner or the manager are going to take on and encounter a new sort of echelon or set of responsibilities. And you're going to come into these human resources problems. You're going to come into these, there's literally just too many people. So you yourself have a family. They are like, they may or may not be separate from the business, but your business is also a family in the same type of sense. So it's like, you have these people, you're only really gonna maybe handle 150 people maximum at any time before something fails, or you just straight up get exhausted and forget. So that's what this kind of does. It allows you to remember. It allows you to keep track of everything and still grow your company into like a 600-person conglomerate. So like if you're a restaurant, maybe buy a farm, but the farm is separate from the restaurant. It just supplies the other one. You know what I mean? So it allows you to keep your sort of like core working group working at the core level, and it allows you to expand your core working groups and not really kind of lose anything. So what is this? What is the art rank system? The art rank title system, the achievement rank title system, or art, is basically how do you organize a career at innovative potential? This is basically how it's organized from the person who is known to exist. So it could be like a family member. They sit with you at the table. It's like the family member of an employee or someone assigned to a project sits at the dinner table and you talk about the project. It's like, well, they're alive. If they get sick, the company has to realize that their time off is your time off. Is missing time from the project work. You know what I mean? So that kind of really has to be entrenched at the beginning of the company's foundation. And a lot of this is like national law level type of stuff, but it's important that like, no. If your kid's sick, you're sick. So that's just sort of that acknowledgement. And the kids are going to hear, it's like, well, I'm working on this today. Or they're interested to know what you're working on, that type of project, or that type of skill set. So it's not to never acknowledge additional people. It's like, well, what are they working on? Like that can be, the intent is to at least keep and track a record of that per person through this system. So basically this is sort of what I went. So it's like, I went to school, I went to grade 1, I went to grade 5, I went to grade 8, I went to grade 10, I went to grade 12, I went to university, college, university. I picked up skills and skills and skills of trades and techniques of trades to be able to have this conversation with you right now. That's what the art system is from my perspective. There's going to be other ones, but hopefully I've been able to broaden these like life stone objectives or achievements to basically make something valuable as to a career trajectory. So it's like there's a finite cap on it, but then there's like it's like a prestige system. So you level up through the ranks once, and then you get the prestige. So when you get the prestige, it's sort of like, okay, well, congratulations, you've done everything I've done, and you should be having this conversation with me right now because you yourself own a corporation like this. That's sort of what the art system is. You've gotten to the point where it's like you started, okay, congratulations, you're alive, and you were kind of registered to exist by the company. If you have nothing to do with the company, like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, who cares? Like, no offense, but there is a limitation of what can or cannot be done. Like, everyone's alive on the planet kind of thing, but does it help us move to go forward? Not really. It's not offensive, but it is just sort of like, you're not on our radar today. Like, why is this an issue? That's sort of the real world, right? So from everyone from just being alive to getting to school and getting some type of like trade education to being able to function at a business, to be able to start and function in a business environment yourself to the point where other people want you in charge of their business. So that's sort of like from alive to documentarian. I'm documenting this system. I'm documenting my understanding of other people's work. So what that basically means is this system should still function as well as it does in a Tesla working group, as it does at Toyota, as it does with some of the major ones, because it's based and reconstructed from observations of other large-scale, large industrial manufacturing campuses and generalized across industries. So Walmart is going to function like this in some respect. Steel manufacturer is going to function like this in some respect. Vehicle manufacturer is going to function like this in some respect. Schools, government, anything with, that's food services, farming, agriculture, anything with large numbers of stuff. Basically, all people right now are large numbers of stuff. The planet's large numbers of stuff. It's going to function under this type of upwards mobility pathway. So part of this is saying, okay, well, what can you do? If you can do this, we're going to give you a name tag and a number, and that's sort of your rank. You're in charge of all the other stuff below it, and that's kind of how it works. Because if you're not, like it's almost like an outward trust level. How much have you demonstrated that you can do, and how much can the person be actually like? How much can you legitimately ask someone to do without just like overwhelming them or screwing them over? And when you work a job, getting screwed over kills more. It's a morale killer. When you have a morale killer, you as a company are not functioning as a company. You might have that fake type of, we're the group leaders and we've been told to do this and we don't really give a fuck kind of mentality. Just undoing everything that it is trying to do. And you've all sat through those like pep meetings before where it's like, okay guys, we have to increase our quotas. It's like, without ever addressing why we don't meet those quotas in the first place. You're just telling them to, like, it's bad people management. comes from my time in the telemarketing industry, in tech support and vocal tech support kind of stuff, where it's just like, you make a quota when the people you're helping. So we did internet tech support as a group, as sort of a group of friends one time, and I've done that twice. One is an outbound experience and one is an inbound experience. Inbound experience is going to be the example for this, but it's basically inbound tech support. You make a quota when the other person is able to match you in terms of like basic intelligence. You're not making your quotas in that type of service industry because the other person has too large of an education gap. So you can't even use the vocabulary properly that describes the infrastructure that you're going to have to remotely walk the person through. How do I change passwords? How do I log into the internet and I don't know what a modem is? You know what I mean? So it's like, you know instantly on that call, you will never make quota that day because I just spent 3 hours walking a customer through it. And if I don't walk this person through it, it's 10 times worse because they turn around and say, oh, that guy was a jackass, or he was rude, or he didn't help me. I have to call back. What pisses someone off more is that they have to call back because they weren't helped the first time. So don't come breathing down my neck about how to do the job when that is the job itself. Subsequently, that little office was closed down because of those reasons and other bad management issues. The entire campus was shut down. That's sort of the idea here, and it's just like, well, why does that happen? Because because the monitoring and management people, the people who are looking after the workers, you know, the point of contact oversees and monitors performance in other people, in the sense that it's like, no, you're there for quality management. You're not there to press on the quotas, because if you have to meet a quota, you have to meet more people. You have to hire more people, because it is a nature of that type of workflow scenario. Or you can't have them reading through the screens when the operator already memorized the shortcut for most of the most frequent questions. You can't have them go through the screens every time. So there's these types of like, use your brain, and your employee has to be able to use your brain, and the worker has to use your brain, and the person who's sitting at the desk for, you know, what amounts to something like minimum wage has to want to come back tomorrow, because it is a very high turnover type of job, because the job sucks. It sucks because the people don't know what they're doing, and they purchased a piece of technology that they outright shouldn't have, because they didn't do their homework. But it also stops people from like the job itself. The job itself also stops people from just thriving, because you locked a manager. So it's like, I as the frontline worker, I have zero capacity for more weight or control or outward expertise display, because I'm stuck in the frontline job. It's not that I haven't heard or participated in other groups. It's like, my pigeonhole frontline job doesn't allow me to do anything else. I'm a better manager than the current managers are, but that will never be recognized because of that type of system. That system was destroyed, but that's what my experiences have taught me, and what I'm throwing into the art system here. The art system is saying, okay, what did you learn, and why is it important? Because if, like, it allows me at Innovative Potential to hire a frontline new at their skill level that they're coming in on. You don't lose seniority by coming into innovative potential. You might not stay long with innovative potential, but you're not losing anything. You're not getting degraded at innovative. Like, you might have conversations, but you are not getting devalued at innovative potential. That's the idea here. So okay, so what's this blurb about it? Okay, so the art system is designed to be flexible and adaptable as projects and company needs change. By ensuring that all employees are able to perform the functions at lower levels, the art system allows for a more agile workforce that can respond quickly to new challenges and opportunities. This helps to ensure that the company is always able to meet the needs of the present while positioning itself for success in the future. It's like AI wrote that. I don't talk like that. AI wrote that. It's very succinct. It's basically here to. It's like a sarcomere. I used a sarcomere in this example. What's a sarcomere? So let's go look up what a sarcomere is. It's the muscle. It's a basic muscle unit. So basically, go Google the sarcomere picture and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it's basically the art system and innovative potential is designed to have individually recognized efforts applied communally to produce forces larger than the sum of the parts. So it's like the sarcomere. I'm going to show you the sarcomere. Sarcomere has a whole is like a stick, a whole bunch of like these little heads around coming out of it, and those heads grab onto something else. But through the continued action of all of the heads, you get a greater contractile force. So even if one head exhausts, you still have 5 holding on. Like if your kid gets sick, that's okay. You still have 4 other people in the working group. They're gonna cover until you get back or store or replace. There is this heavy biology element, and that's how it works. So continuing on, so it's basically it's how I'm defining the meritocracy here. It's like for the company, and just how I interact with people at other companies. It's sort of like if I need to purchase a set of services from someone else, I need to know that that person is going to function here. I'm looking for these types of people. I'm looking for like these groups of people. I don't need them to be more, but these groups of people are kind of where, you know, what you're targeting. Not necessarily, you're not targeting. You are looking. You're gathering these people and saying, okay, which one's the best? You're assessing them based on your needs for this. And if you know what you're functioning at, you can kind of you can ask them a question. It's like, have you or can you do this type of work? It becomes a yes or no. And that makes your life a whole lot easier. It's basically meant to sort of like destroy favoritism. So it's like when you start a new project, everybody is new to the project. And that's what the art system is sort of saying. You're all, level 25, you know the rules, get to it. You're going to be working, this project will help you work to a 26. So it's not all end all, and it's like, it's a way to just say like, if you're in your frontline position, you've been a cashier your whole life, it's like, yeah, but I'm a S-ranked, but I'm a prestiging teller. You know what I mean? It's like, you would trump your man, like you would beat out your manager. Like if I had to decide, I'm picking the S rank teller than the manager, because the S rank has been there way longer than the manager has. Like your position within the company might have oversight associated, but your individual rank is almost like your seniority or a demonstration that you have grown and expanded within the company. It's like you just might just love being a teller because there's always someone to talk with, and you're like super social, and you're just like solving those little problems that like, sure, we can help you out, we can, let me get some paper for you. Like, you just might be that person. But you've sat on every meeting and you've contributed in every way possible, and you've grown with the company, and this is that way to do it. You might not like management, you might not be that manager person, but your participation with the company, it's not seniority, because the other teller who's been there longer than you have hasn't done shit. And that's how this differentiates. It's like you've participated in the position because the position is valuable or it serves a function, but you also haven't done absolutely nothing. Like, you're not just it demonstrates that you're not just collecting a paycheck, and if I have to decide, I'm picking the person with the higher rank. There. And then S rank so it's like once you prestige, it's sort of like, okay, well, you should be able to own and operate this franchise single-handedly and blindfolded, and then start up a franchise and, become part of the larger conglomerate or the larger industry, fully functioning and fully independent on your own. That's the idea here, because I don't have to babysit people. That's the reality, and that kind of comes from a lot of my contract work, where it is like, no, here's the contract, you can do it, you're a professional. We recognize your profession, that you are a professional within the company. Go and, if you want to be independent, go be independent, but you're gonna work within the brand. You're gonna work within the family of brands. You're gonna you've climbed the tree, you've built the nest. You can now sort of float in the nest a little bit, and learn to fly it, essentially. Freedom and autonomy is granted to and recognized for an S-rank person. It's like your training wheels are off a long time before, but it's like if you want to own innovative engineering as one of Innovative Potential's front-running conglomerate companies, you need to be an S-rank. You know what I mean? Like you're not even the chief executive, not even the chief executives. You have to go above and beyond that. So that's what I mean. It's like you're grouping people. You're keeping your competition as participants. You're just putting them in an alliance because everybody wins. Like, you already spent all this time here. Why would you go break off completely independently? Why don't you stay here? Have all the independence that you want and protection that you want. But do it with like market recognition type of stuff. Like that's sort of the idea here. Just like it's like, oh well, it's like a franchise kind of thing. We will lend you recognition for your freedom project, and in return we get the information of your freedom project. It's like, yeah, let's go ahead, let's do it. You know what I mean? So the art descriptions, it's like one. So the ranks are basically you're alive. Yay. And it's dominant, and there's 24 of them before they proceed. So it's like, the idea here is that anyone, it could be a daughter or a son, take your daughter to work day kind of thing, like the Portal game. It's like, well, because she's seen all this, she's now interested in this. Don't ever discount that, because they might come up with something that is like, okay, you know what, congratulations. If you want a job when you're going through school, if you want a job when you're doing this other stuff, it's like, no. You've been paying attention not only in your classwork, but at your home table kind of thing. already have some idea of what's going on. That's value to the company. So this basically sort of follows like you're alive, you're in grade 4, you're like of what you can do for the company kind of thing, but it's in terms of a new hire, essentially. So alive. The first rank is alive. Everyone's alive. Person who is known, like you are known to exist, you're alive. That's it. This rank is at the beginning of the art system, alive, and signifies that the company is aware of the person, possible future hire, or more typically a child or a spouse of an employee. This level 1 rank indicates that the person has not yet demonstrated any particular skills or accomplishments for Innovative Potential Incorporated, and may be aware of the company and its projects and their details through the employee. The rank's name is a tongue-in-cheek reference that the person, like a family member, will hear many things about the corporation and projects in non-official environments, and is valuable and important to someone working on a project. So if your daughter gets sick, you're taking the day off. The project kind of falls behind a little bit. That's what they mean. It's like they are not. This is a holistic company. If you're not holistic at this point, you're losing money. Well-being about like your contingency plans, like Innovative Potential builds contingency plans of contingency plans of contingency plans just because you got sick. And then you got your daughter sick, who then got you reinfected. Like we're a COVID company, basically. So that, like, we understand that. The well-being of a rank 1 will have an impact on a project if taken ill, but they themselves may not be directly involved in the project itself. So that's sort of alive. And then that kind of goes into rank 2. It's sort of like congratulations, you're hired. We've never done any onboarding with you. We've never done anything. It could be 2 weeks until you actually set foot in the door. You might have to move. You might have to, you know what I mean? Like, these are like the big, these are, you're going to school. Congratulations, you're born. That's it. As far as Innovative Potential cares, you're born. Go read the internet. Right now, you're at least enrolled in school. That's kind of what the metric is here. It's like, okay, well, now you're enrolled in school. You've been formally offered something, but that's it. Enrolled is basically the person who is allowed to observe on premise. The rank signifies that the employee has successfully completed the necessary steps to be fully enrolled as an employee. This may include completing orientation, training, and any paperwork necessary to be a fully functional employee. And it's like, to earn this rank is to complete the onboarding process. So it's like, we got to go through, like, so who are you? What are you working for? Why are you working here? Are there any legal ramifications or conflict of interest for the project you're working on, particularly if you are a volunteer or a or for contract service provider or something like that. So it's like, if we do a grant with someone, we kind of enroll in each other through the process, but we're not actually exchanging money until like we leave. So it's like, you're a little bit more, you're registered, but you're not existing. But you're registered and you exist, but you can't do anything. You just, basically go stand in the corner while everyone else does their jobs, and don't get in their way. The next rank is server. It's like, the idea here is like a gopher kind of thing. It's like, you in the corner, can you get me a cup of coffee? So can you basically function, and like how this ranks and progresses is very quick in the beginning, and then becomes longer and harder to master because you're sort of like asked to take on more and do more as each project type of progresses. So the server is a person who does as they're told, or as basically the rank 3 is you do as you're told. The server is a job shadower, an observer of others working in their jobs. Where onboarding is complete, the server is there to familiarize themselves with the physical building, meet new people, acquire familiarity and recognition with others around them. They do not have independence. They do not have independence or autonomy. Servers are expected to have basic skills and to assist and make life easier for multiple working group members. The person is in the introductory stages of employment, and this is considered a learning period. So it's like, stand in the corner, get out of everyone's way, stand in the corner, learn, watch, and observe like what they're doing and how the work So you know kind of like, okay, you pass the legal requirements to do the job. It's like, okay, well the job is now to basically entrench the company for forever, basically. Particularly if it's a full-time job type of thing. It's like, no, you can have a very good and fulfilling career with innovative potential. We design this so that you're able to have the career with innovative potential. It's based off of a 30-year-long career at this point. Okay. Once you kind of know, it's like, okay, I know where the building is. I know how to go to the bathroom. I don't have to ask somebody where the bathroom is. I don't have to ask them where the change room is. I don't have to ask them where do I get pens and pencils. You know, like that's what I mean, like that type of like basic stuff, because you don't want that type of ignorance running around these workplace environments, be it industrial, be it engineering, be it chemical, be it whatever. No. So that's sort of, so even if you've worked previously in the past, you still have to take like the week to familiarize yourself with the physical structure of the building so that the building becomes second nature. You know what I mean? So citizen, hooray, you got a rank up. So you take so it's kind of following the 666 rule where it's like 6 hours, 6 days, 6 weeks. You're a citizen for like 6 weeks. Person who can begin independent learning. So you know where everything is, so you can like show up, have lunch, go home, do a bit of reading, do a bit of helping, go meet the guy in the tech department downstairs who you would never know existed if someone didn't actually just outright tell you or show you. The person who can begin independent learning. So that's a citizen. A citizen is a person who can begin independent learning. The citizen rank is achieved once the employee has acclimatized and accepted the company's culture, knows and upholds the standards, and is able to proffer forth ideas and suggestions in front of others and groups. The person is familiar with other employees and vice versa, the physical layout of the building and location of resources. This rank does not confer voting rights to the greater corporate operations. It might be called citizens, but it's just sort of like, you've accepted you're here. You know, you get the vibe of the workplace, you understand what the people are doing, kind of how the different projects are working together to be able to move the entirety of the company forward, or even just a working group, because the working group might have 3 or 4 projects on the go, and you have to know what they are and why they're working together, and how those projects have their order of operation, like the workflow. You're learning the workflow of the people that you're working with, right? Because you're gonna have like the old guy who's been there, like I'm working on one of these like major long-term, I'm just documenting a career, like they're at their documentarian stage, or they're like, you know, double prestige documentarians. Like I'm writing up my 25-year-long career history report now. And the summer student we hired last year, because we didn't have any other applicants. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. But at the same time, everyone's functional. So congratulations, you get a promotion. You're now an enlistee, whatever that means. I don't know, it sounded like the enlistee is a person who can do non-specific work. It's like congratulations, you graduated high school, you can work at McDonald's. That's kind of you can do someone else's entry-level work. It's the minimum sort of, we're going to give you your own project and you're going to sort of go off with it. You're still heavily scrutinized, but you're new and your project is new, and it's like, okay, well, let's see what you can really kind of do with it, I guess. I don't know. The LSD rank is someone who has earned the ability to choose which projects and working groups they work on with and in what capacity. They are far from leadership capacity, but have earned a freedom of choice. This is the first rank of an independent employee of an innovative potential incorporated will actually begin to recognize a person as an employee, meaning others have begun to trust the person with independence and decision making without fucking up the consequences of those decisions or quality of work. Welcome aboard. Unless these are more playful, this is a playful rank as the person is striving to know where their skills fail at work within the company. Their attempts at changing processes of older employees with technology with their newfound team, and are actively seeking mentorship to expand and define their role within the company. So it's like when you're an enlistee, it's like it's at high school. It's like, what are you doing in your sophomore year of high school, or like grade 11, your junior, senior year of high school? That's sort of the mentality. It's like, I want to sort of take on the world. I know how to do the schoolwork. I know how to do a job. Let me do what I want to do. Like, let me find what I'm best at. That's what that rank is. That's what the enlistee rank is. It's okay. It's like you kind of recognize, you can see a career with innovative potential, and then it's like, okay, well, let me do what I am best at innovative potential. That's what the art rank is. It's like you are going to be your best self at innovative potential. You know, within that which innovative potential is capable of doing, but at the same time, it's like this is the first time the company itself will trust you, and you have had to have earned that by working with and alongside other people. So it's like this is something like 6 months in. At 6 months in, you've got an idea of what everyone else is doing within the company. You're like, okay, well, I like this project, and I can see this project doing something else, or maybe you've come up with your own idea. That's when people say, okay, you know, get another upgrade. It's not bureaucratic. It's more of like, okay, you've started demonstrating that, you know, one, you haven't quit. Two, you've demonstrated that you want to do something more, or that sort of like bad idea generator. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, this is not to I say it's more of like squamification of the cellular layer. No, it's keratinizing. I don't like it. This is to stop the culture from keratinizing. You still want it supple. You still need for me, it's the executive suite of innovative potential that gets turned into stone rather than the employees and the employee culture and the workforce culture. That's what this art system is specifically designed to keep it living and functional. So basically, you're not really an employee until you hit rank 6. Because it's like 6 months in, we're still just gonna like, if you fuck up, we're just gonna fire you. Like, we're not gonna like, the company is learning to invest in you as much as you are learning to invest in the company. And it works back and forth, and it works with other people's management styles. And you have to learn a little bit about the management style, and you have to learn a bit about the company. You have to learn about what the hell you're doing. In addition to trying to incorporate all of that with all of the other projects and information that you have already done. Because we don't want what you've done to be sacrificed for us. That's not what this is about. That's not what I'm about. That's not what I did. So, student, congratulations, rank up, level up to student. Person beginning their scholarship. So what the hell does that mean? Students are people who have learned why their ideas fail and have begun seeking out older employee mentorship to understand more of the company and or project history. Students are more accepting of their limitations and others' input, particularly from others' own accounts of failure-based experiences. This is when people are eligible for mentorship within the company because they are actively seeking feedback and mentorship from their colleagues and managers to help them improve their performance. Students learn from others' mistakes and become promoted once they understand the company and the work it does is about longevity. So what does that mean? It's sort of like you understand, it's like a lot of this, like this is a recurring sort of like theme here, where it's like, here's the success, but here's the failure. Here's the success, but here's the failure. Here's the success, but here's the failure. And the whole point of innovative potential and its progress is to record why something is successful and why something fails at the individual sort of level. And then at the company, and then like, you know how it's, and then it scales to that other picture. But it's like, if you don't know why something fails, the next person is going to show up and do the exact same thing. By doing this, you sort of like nip it in the bud and get the rhythm. And like you have to prune your tree a little bit here, so like it does grow. So that you get the type of company that you want, the type of results that you want. That's what makes everything difficult. That's what makes life difficult, is getting what you want to the standard of quality that you want it at. So the real idea here is the students are like, okay, they understand why their idea or new process will not work because they've sat down with someone and said, no, it's not that we've never tried it before, because like, you know, go ahead, go try it. But at the same time, we've either never needed that process and like put in, or we've never even heard about it. Like it's usually like the new hire has never heard the answer no before, and they have to learn either through the company and its current set of employees, like these no's were because either the technology didn't exist at the time, or, and that's quite frequent, where it's like, well, we just didn't know this technology existed, but the new person is coming in like, I have only ever used this technology, and it's just like kicking the butts of everything you've ever done. You know what I mean? Like the company is just like recoiling from the amount of power that like someone with an internet connection has. Like, no, we've used all these programs, we've done everything. We had the artificial intelligence print this entire 40-page document, and you know, before lunch. You know, it's like wired on. It's like you're pulling the all-nighter wired at caffeine at 120 miles an hour. It's like, meanwhile, the other guy is like, I just woke up. You know, cough, cough. That's dangerous for a company, because one, the older person is not going to respect that all of this stuff can actually just be done, and then the younger person won't really say, it's like, yeah, but all of that work that you just did is like crap. It's like, you might have printed 100 pages, you might have typed 100 pages or had a robot do 100 pages, but it's absolute crap, to the point where half of it's wrong and I've deleted the other half. Start again. So that's sort of the, you know, at some point in this learning stage, the light bulb goes off, and like, this is like your first year out of high school. The student is the first year out of high school. The light goes off and it's like, okay, you know, maybe I want to be maybe because I worked at McDonald's, I want to be a restaurateur. Maybe I want to open my own McDonald's. Maybe I want to manage it. Maybe I just like hate the smell, but I want to make Italian food. Or maybe I want to do Chinese food. But I've seen what a really high functioning restaurant, high throughput restaurant is capable of. And I want to take that to, you know, Korean and Italian fusion foods. You know what I mean? So it's like, then it's like a time, so maybe now I have to go and learn whatever, how to make all those foods or whatever, or that was my home cook, you know what I mean? Like, so those are sort of like where your outside life experiences come into innovative potential and say, no, we are not going to suppress that. We are not going to force that type of energy into, like, we're going to try and, you know, ride it and you know, get it to work for us, but to, you know, snuff out those flames is like, that's the worst sin. So, you get an upgrade. Sophomore, a person is able, basically a sophomore is a person who's able to gather information. So these are now sort of like, these are your college, your 4 years of college, 3-4 years of college here. So your sophomore, your junior, senior, but your freshman is the student. They kind of want to be, they kind of want to be it, right? They haven't given up on themselves yet. Not like the second year where you're dealing with nothing but failure. So sophomore sucks is a common phrase because by this rank, the person has learned why their ideas fail, accepted that others who they look up to also fail, and accept that to realize their own vision for and with the company, it will be a long time. The sophomore is an endurance rank, so you're learning to stick with it, but it's more than staying. It's, you know, like gum sticks to your bottom of your shoe, but that's an entry. The sophomore is an endurance rank, multiple long-term projects are common, and a mechanization or automation process is often observed in personal ideologies. This process should be scrutinized because it becomes a default working mode for a very long time. So it's like how you learn to work and how you learn to do your work is like really defined in this rank. And it's not even a time period, it's the rank itself, because we're not going to let you do multiple long-term projects by yourself, right? You're going to be like, when you get recognized as having gone through this learning process, you get the rank. So that's sort of what this is. It's like, you've had all your bright ideas that you want to implement in the company and move forward, but then you've also heard like, no, we don't do that because doing it by hand stops a whole bunch of like revisionary work, and we use that process that you like someplace else. That's sort of what it is. You've learned what the quality control checks are, and now you're sort of like, well, I still want to be valuable. I still want to be useful. Like, it's important. I still want to be useful. Like, I'm the stupid. It's like sophomore is the realization that I'm the stupid one, and that's really kind of different. That's a really big like. It's not a headache, but it is one of those things where it's like it's not your fault. You're still you're consistently learning that you're always dealing with something new. The person is learning how to win, basically, or succeed against external, uncontrollable forces. Defeat is felt the strongest in this rank because the person is learning how to plan, think, and execute in multifactorial fashion for independent long-term preservation and success. The fuck does that mean? No, it means it's like it's like when you set, it's like this is your first time like really planning something, planning a long-term project. It's not just like, well, we're gonna go to the store and buy something, and then we're gonna do it, and it's done complete in like a week. No. This is gonna take like, there's gonna be like a 6-week shipping delay here, and then after that, there's a 6-week build time, and then I'm thinking, well, then there's a whole bunch of holidays that expand everything out to like, fuck, I can't even function in this stupid fucking society anymore because it's like my own project got delayed by a 2-week religious holiday. Maybe rightfully so, maybe not. But at the same time, it is like what would have taken, you know, a week of just straight work has now, you know, just completely ballooned out and deployed out into this like, it's now taking 6 months. accepting that it's not your fault and it's still taking 6 months is kind of what sophomores are about. But still still not being the dick and slacking off. So you're starting to learn to plan around those holidays. Oh, wait, it's a long weekend coming up, so we can't do this on Monday. We have to have a group meeting on Tuesday. You're learning how to do that type of social coordination type of thing. And the defeat is felt the strongest because when it fails, it's like I'm not planning good. It's really internalized here. Failures are actually external failures, but are taken, felt, and observed self-reflectively as personal failures in the sophomore rank. The promotional lesson here is acknowledging that the person is learning it's not my fault, but is not using it as an escape to defer responsibilities. And using it as a time to call in other people for help or assistance. So it's learning how to do stuff independently, learning when stuff it's not my fault. It might fault and problem are still two different things here, but have it not being your fault and saying, okay, well, I need help on this because what I'm trying to do is not working on the timeline. Can we accelerate it by asking someone for like, this is my project, can you help me with it so that we meet a deadline? It's not my fault that I can't do it on myself. I can't do it on myself. It's just like, you know how everyone's been there. It's just like, yeah, because that might be the first time you've had to like party plan. It's like, well, if I have to plan a wedding, or if I have to plan a baby shower, or if I have to plan a bridal shower, or if it's just a birthday party or something like that. It's like, okay, well, if we want to have it all of these 10 things done on this one day, we got to coordinate with like 50 different people to be able to make sure that they all show up at the exact same time on this one day and get it done. And if it fails, it's not my fault because someone else did that. But can you help me get the flowers from the florist because the florist truck broke down that day? It's like, oh my God, like, you know what? It's like, it's dealing with that. That's sophomore. Bing, congratulations, you're a junior now. So the junior is a person who is able to write documents. Like, you can gather information and plan information. That's sort of what the senior is. But the junior is now, okay, now you can write it down so that I can come back and read it. It's not just like chicken scratch or bullshit. It's like, no, this is, you're now learning what the quality standards are here. So the Junior for Innovative Potential Incorporated is the 8th achievement rank in the art system. There is a renewal of fresh energy and enthusiasm, zeal, caused by the extra help received. So it's like, you can ask for help now. And it's like, oh my God, these other people can help me. It's like, we can move so much faster. But it's being able to understand what you can ask for extra help on that will move your project the fastest. That puts you at a junior rank. This is the rank when people look outward from innovative potential to what others in the world are doing, being able to make sense of how innovative potential incorporated is not participating or functioning in a properly competitive fashion. In other words, how we're not winning becomes inherently and severely successful, and they're going to let you know as if it's their job. And it's not. How we're not winning is like, if you're a junior rank, it's like, yeah, we know to look out for this because you're gonna see what Pfizer is doing. And it's like, well, Pfizer is doing all this stuff, so why don't we do it? We're not winning according to someone else's standards, and they're gonna report back to someone. Those are the types of ideas that are gonna come into a group meeting, and the senior ranking person has to be able to recognize what our competition. It may not be a bad idea, but what our competition is not doing what we're doing because of this or some other thing. You know what I mean? The junior ranks realize with a sharp focus that they have to do independently. What they have to do, yeah. So it's like the junior ranks realize with a sharp focus what they have to do independently to ensure victories for innovative potential, be it starting something new or stopping something that doesn't work. It's a first step to exerting independent corporate cultivation and responsibilities towards the long term, in other words, multi-decade success of the company. It also implies that the employee has the potential to take on leadership roles and management positions in the company. So this is where it's like, well, if they're doing something, if they stopped doing something, why did they stop doing it? This is when it's like, remember way back when you were like, an enlistee or a you've been with the company long enough to like you're almost kind of bored at the junior level, and they're like, okay, well, what's someone like if I want to leave the company, why do I want to leave the company? Is it because I can't do what someone else is doing? I want to do what someone else is doing. Well, can I do what it's basically this like existential crisis of can I do what the other person is doing at innovative potential? And then why or why not? And then if not, you know, like how am I gonna fit here for like, you know, 10 years? Like where are you in 5 to 10 years? Like, nah, who cares? Is this project that I'm kind of like wanting to do now, are my interests gonna fly with innovative potential and the working groups that we have? Why or why not? Because I like what they're doing over there. Maybe it's something, screw their culture, because all cultures turn to shit at some point. But it's like, maybe it's the types of projects. Maybe I'm just bored of this type of project. Is there something that they're doing that we can adapt here? Because it's like, once you lose talent, it's kind of gone. It's more difficult. So it's like, no, grow with, it's like, that's sort of the corporate strategy. Well, if you grow with the company, if you do this type of stuff, it's like, well, that's not the point. The point is, can you do what you want to do in the timeline that you do it? And then if not, poof, you know, you're gone. But we'll find someone else who's kind of in that, who's able to do that with the same sort of rank level. We can find, like, that's sort of the problem. We can always find someone else. Like, yes and no. But identifying how you can adapt what someone else is doing, or stopping something harmful at innovative potential to ensure maybe another decade of something. It's like, okay, congratulations, you're in long-term thinking now, and that kind of ranks you up. The senior is a person who is able to design experiments. Senior ranks now have an idea of the company's goals and objectives, policies and procedures, and most importantly, why they exist. Senior ranks are poised to figure out what type of expertise they wish to represent within the company and in what division, but they do this internally and implicitly. The idea of an expertise-based identity is there, and the senior seeing what it can do and where that identity can lead them. They've had lots of time to explore where the path of least resistance is located with the company, and now they're exploring how unresisted that path actually is for them, independently of the company. So this is all sort of like, okay, I can be here for 10 years. I've accepted like this project can be here for 10 years, but it's really like the motor sort of gets going because now they realize this is the type of project that I can sort of back burner, and now I can have 10 of these things and I can take off a huge chunk of ownership. Or I can take on a huge chunk of ownership. That's kind of what this is. Or I can get my name on like 6 pieces of new technology. That's the senior rank. So like, it's very much the same as if you go back, it's kind of the same as the enlistee. It's like, well, I can do a bunch of this stuff. It's like, right. But now you're kind of realizing that, well, now I can do a bunch of this stuff and it's valuable. Oh, you know what I mean? So the idea of an expertise-based identity is there, and the senior seeing what they can do and where that identity can lead them. They've had lots of time to explore. Okay, I read that. So basically, the senior gets promoted if the path they are on is demonstrating that it will yield particularly fruitful results in a very broad and sweeping generalization type of sense. Right now, innovative potential does not have an electrical department. For something that is extremely electrochemically based with robotics and all that, there's no, the first expansion I would do would be electrical engineering. That's the senior type of thing. It's like, well, you're in your 3rd year of college or university, and it's like you already kind of know what you want, but now it's like the final year is when you're getting that like trade skill. Really, you're pulling both ends together. You're making both ends meet in your senior year. And because the next year is like, okay, you've decided you're going to be this. We're going to take a year of dedication and basically make this work. We're going to take a volume of information dedicated to exactly what you want. Congratulations, you've identified exactly what you want. That's the senior. Seniors get promoted if the path they're on is demonstrating these. That's a general sense. Okay. There's a possibility of progressionally stalling as a senior if the way forward is perceived to become overcrowded, overused, hugely anticipated, could be valued, suffer a technological replacement, or if the senior just gets exhausted. So it's like, and that's very true, like the senior can just get exhausted. This is one of those ones, it's like, it's difficult to think, and it's difficult to think long term, because you're now taking in all of this, like huge amounts of, like, where are we going to be in, like, 15, like, it's like, what do we need in 15 years? And Kyle talked about this in another one, where it's like, you're eating, you're drinking, you're sleeping, your temperature regulation, your medicine, and your sanitation departments. Everybody needs that everywhere all over the world. How does innovative potential fit into that for medicine? With a little bit of sanitation, so that maybe we switch over and build one of Bill Gates' toilets. That would be also clear how to fix that little urine-based bleach manufacturing. But that's sort of the idea. It's like, well, if basically you're doing first, if you turn a dynamo, it generates an electric current. That electric current is now turned into an electrolyzer. The electrolyzer turns the chloride ions and neurons into bleach, and it now disinfects human waste and becomes its own waste treatment. Or you can hook it up to a solar power battery, a solar panel, and have it do that work also as a independent bleach generating toilet for rural and remote areas. So that's the type of stuff that is fully, like, owned and capable by it. That's the type of senior project, because it's like, oh, we could just, like, that's a whole new division wing of innovative potential just spawned out from this video and the last video. The fact that it's not so bachelor, since my first, since 2009, this is my first, like, lab thing. Every time, it's like it's one of those ideas where, like, well, now that you see it, that you see those little pinwheels in the urinal in the men's room, it's just like, wow, that's the biggest no-brainer ever, because now it's not only low flush, it's now getting rid of that urine smell. And now every men's room smells like bleach all the time. It's fantastic. Bachelor, congratulations, you just got promoted. Person who has completed, is basically a person who's completed their scholarship. There's been found a way forward, and the bachelor has seen and declared that way. If the senior was in an internal process rank, the bachelor is an externalization of that process. They are out to truly test that vision against the outside world. Like the endless thief, this rank is playful and often very fulfilled just to be able to fail in the real world without oversight. The bachelor is where one learns to fail in the real world, almost detrimentally so. Discipline and its need comes as a hard lesson, but is quickly recoverable. This is the first truly independent rank, and the fun of freedom, its dangers and control are the lessons being learned. So it's basically, regarding failure, do it once, do it right, do it fast. Because it's like, whoa, it's like with that toilet idea, you build one prototype, you build one thing, you sit down, you do the math, because you're gonna have to, like, move on to the next thing, or you're gonna have to design something else, or you're gonna have to, like, prepare, like, okay, this was a success, what's the next step? So that's sort of the thing. It's like you almost want it, unbroad. It's like it's beginner's luck. If you have beginner's, you're rank 10. If you got that beginner's luck, you're rank 10. By definition, you just don't know where that curvature, where it ends. So from there is a very real need to fail only because you are succeeding. You need to know when that stops. And it's learning how to fail and what is an appropriate failure. That's the bachelor. When you learn how to fail, you move on to apprentice. So it's like, okay, it calms you back down and you're ready to learn. So you get excited and come back down. You get excited. So that's how all of these types of ranks work. Like, one set of 12 is an excitement phase. The other set of 12 is like it's calm and it's learning. You ride the wave. You ride the waves of promotion, but you're also learning something every time you're promoted. And you don't get promoted until you've demonstrated that you've learned something. That's what the ARC system is, because you're actually physically producing a report, a work, something for the company. Apprentice phase. Person who is willing and wanting to learn. Basically, fresh from having learned the how and why of failing in the real world, the apprentice rank has success figured out, almost pathologically. And this leads to a buildup of areas where the apprentice is not successful, and the challenges are very difficult by virtue of the challenges themselves. The easy successes become exhausted. So it's like in the bachelor phase, you learn how to be successful and you're looking for why things fail. You learn why things fail, forget about those, and just hammer through all of these successes. But what happens is the failures you encounter get bigger or more. They're not catastrophic failures, they're just like more and more difficult challenges to the point where you just break. You have to pull in somebody larger. And this is like learning when you've learned to be independent by helping to recruit other people. But now you're sort of learning how to be independent again. This is the apprentice rank is the rank where the person's path of least resistance has the most resistance. Their blind spot becomes the most apparent, and where the apprentice rank becomes aware that problems can be avoided, and that quite often the failings of others cause avoidable problems. That's a really important part, because it's like it's the reiteration or rediscovery of it's not your fault. But because it's not your fault, it's the failings of someone else, and directly, like your successes are curtailed by the failings of someone else. That pisses you off. Failings of challenges are again taken personally because they are failings not caused by a lack of discipline, as with the bachelor rank. They are external, and that group hindering behaviors of others are a cause for resentment, but are not due to the apprentice's behaviors. It's like you've learned that, now you're stuck babysitting. Basically, you're stuck babysitting. And that's sort of like, when you're looking at this from a management perspective, it's like, well, how do we get you out of this? It's not a rut. It's not a rut. It really is something that, this is where you might have to make a policy change, because other people are failing this project moving forward. Why you as the manager have to come in and step in and say, so why are other people failing you? Are they disorganized? And that's really what it is. Why are people failing you? The apprentice rank is when the person learns to independently put their collective experiences all together to solve the difficult problems for the very first time. Learning how to solve problems independently and differently than before. And what this is really talking about is like, if other people are causing me problems, I'm going to solve my problems without those people. So that kind of turns into it reiterates an independence in the person and their like career-long journey and workforce here, because that's kind of what this is. This is me going back to my university days and what I went through and what I learned in this would be the junior year of university. So we've been through high school, we did university, kind of skipped college, but this is like your college kind of thing. So when you learn to sort of like, okay, well, let's solve problems without needing help. So basically, the apprentice is like, if we're doing an online raid with 64 people and we're 3 hours behind, but I've been there doing my homework for 3 hours waiting for everyone to show up, it's clearly not my fault. But this happens every week. It's sort of when they speak up and say, you know what, for this week, if you're not there on time, fuck it, you're not getting it. And we'll start without you. And that's kind of what it is. I would rather suffer in progression than mire in camaraderie. And that's sort of the apprentice rank, where they're like, you know what, you're not needed. I can do more in 3 hours of waiting than we can with you. So they kind of, so this mentality, and I've seen this in my own students, where it's like my third year, and contemporaries are functioning in this independent learning environment, where it is like, no, we just don't do this because of these lessons. But if you don't really play online games, you don't really get that. If the entire class doesn't show up and we're ready to go, we're going without you. That it's sort of like, this is my independent skill set that I have. I'm going to use it independently because you're costing me something here. And then that switches in the next one, in the assistant level, because now it's like, this is what it's sort of like, this is my core functionality of what I can do. Let me employ this to help you. And that's sort of when they rank up. So an assistant is a person who's helpful. The assistant rank is now able to put that new problem-solving skill set to work for the first time. For the very first time, they are encountering the true subject matter experts from their senior rank and vision, and are able to provide guidance and support to other employees as a type of semi-expert themselves. So back when they turned all of that internal investigation way back at rank 9, it's like, who did they want to be when they complete all of their stuff, when they complete all their projects? If they see themselves with the company 10 years from now, this is sort of now where I want to be like a junior vice executive of sanitation, right? So that sort of vision has been like completed, and now they are, or they're like halfway through becoming that person. But now they're actually talking and functioning in working groups with the vice president of sanitation themselves. That's the assistant. You're now at the point where you can at least, you're back to square one kind of thing. But it's like the art rank is kind of semi-logarithmic here. But it's like, they're just like iterated in the sense that back to go stand in the corner, you're back to all the way back. You jump all the way back to just being a server again. But you're the server you want to be. Understand? Yeah, so you're assisting. You're now capable of assisting like the way the server was when you first started with the company. When you think back to like your rank 3 days, you have that same type of like feeling again. But it's but you now have you now have the control of, like, there's a bunch of self-determination in that rank. You've self-determined to be this person. And now this is the reassessment rank. The persona of being the expert they set out to be is beginning to be felt from an internal identity perspective. The excitement of their fledgling expertise is what is driving the assistant. They are recognizing themselves as being helpful to others for the first time, and are encountering new tools of the trade with which to help others. This is the second independent employee rank at Innovative Potential Incorporated. A person is now able to meet the expectations of the senior group members without encountering any internal project-length problems or requiring unnecessary attention. The assistant rank is the best time to be the second in command of a project, so much that the assistant is the name of the rank title. It's like when you're earning that assistant, it's like, it's not, these are not hard cutoffs. It's very much like a gradient. But when you're in this assistant world, it's like the best time to be the assistant is when you're like being the assistant. So now you're assisting the VP because you become the VP's expert. In a sense, you're still not like the person that the VP goes to, but you can you can shore up that back end for the VP and say like, I need this by Friday, or this is, and to be trusted to deliver that. That's the assistant. It's like, oh no, I've already done that work. I've preempted what you required, and here it is. That's like true. Oh, blow my mind. That's assistance. That's sort of when you rank up. When you can sort of preempt what the person you're sort of like shadowing under or working with needs and requires, so that they almost don't even have to ask it. That's when you rank up to an associate. And you're sort of like, an associate is a person that's independently capable. So the independently capable person is like just that. It's like, you know what I'm doing and you know what I need, and you're helping me do that. So you're putting the horse before the cart. The associate is a 13th experience level and a level where independent and group leadership is learned. This rank is almost exclusively in charge of small group working group, so the SGWG, like 2 to 5 people, and in charge of proposing projects for small group working groups to take on and complete. Associate is an assessment test rank with a pass or fail mentality. You either know enough to succeed in any situation or you don't. Either the project can be completed on time or it can't. Because of your specific leadership style. So this is now, it's like, I know, like these are my deliverables, I know what my deliverables are. I can either deliver them or I can't. And I'm going to tell you, and they speak up. Either the project can be completed on time or it can't. Okay. This is the last rank where project approvals are heavily scrutinized. The associate is learning independent project planning and execution independently as a group. Mentoring or coaching other small group working group members into success is a secondary skill that is required to be learned by the associate. This rank signifies that the associate has to be, by definition, expertly proficient in all aspects of their discipline, independently of their leadership capacity, for the mastery tests that come next. So the associate is an expert. The associate is the working expert. The associate is the bachelor. Like if you have you've done your trade certification, you're certified in your trade, but you're not lead sealing. You're able to do everything we've ever taught you in your university degree, but you haven't really just done everything yourself yet. You haven't designed everything, but you've given all the points, you've done all the group work. This is your 4th year, you've completed 4th year at your associate. It's a little bit confusing because you have the high school terms and then this bachelor shows up. The bachelor is your 1st year of university, and then you're learning to apprentice, and then you're learning to be an assistant, and then you're learning to be an associate. And finally, you're mastering. So the master is a totally different rank. So it's we can trust your so basically by associate, it's we can trust your expertise to not everybody entirely trusts you with your work. If I have to pull you from if I have to pull you or hire you from a different company as an associate, you're coming in as you're coming in as an associate. You're coming in as someone you're going to set a timetable and you're going to produce a deliverable on a timetable, the fullest extent of your expertise, as you would for anybody else. No balls dropped. This is what it is, and we love you for it. Jen is that person. He is an associate of innovative management. He works perfect. He's with a different company. He's just at a different company now. But there was a freelance period where it's this is what we want. This is what we need. This is what perfect deliverable. That's what people are looking for when they want to hire, but it takes so long to go through. It's well, here's their resume. Are they able to perfectly deliver? You don't need 20 people in an HR meeting taking 6 to 10 weeks determining which one person is going to be able to do that. It's who cares? You don't even have to scrap it. Just entirely get rid of that entire system of garbage. Go out and look for a rank 13 person. Here's the definition. Here's where they're going to have problems. But they're 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 all combined. When you hit rank 13, it's the full. You're going to sing the full 10 days of Christmas from start to finish for rank 13. No shortcuts. For the full 12 days of that's what I mean. We already know how to. We've memorized the full. That's everything. And then you work on the mastering. So mastering is an expert. Mastering is something totally different. Mastering has a demonstrated teaching component, mid-groups of 20 to 24 people, oversight leadership, and an independent proficiency in technical expertise in their subject matter. So they've taken the wide field, but now they've compressed all that down. It's okay, well now, here's my priorities as learning mastery. See, here's my core set there are expressions of leadership and guidance of lower ranks, and an increased concern towards the how, why, and why bother of others and projects in a philosophical sense. So it's like, don't waste my time. At this level, you're really getting to the point where don't waste my time. Almost angry, because it's like, don't waste my time. I'm doing all of this stuff. Don't waste my time. A NOE has been found forward, and the associate is completely in charge. There's no more direct oversight at the master level. Everyone is wholly independent, able to propose and critically assess their own work and project proposals, and carry their own projects to completion on time and on budget. You're designing to meet those criteria. Participation and conversation is collegial and colloquial, and the demonstrated mastery of an associate's expertise is able to identify and expand further areas for explorations, profit, and exploitation for other small group working groups. So you're able to take a project and spin off little small group working groups if you've mastered truly what you wanted to do at the company. So like your department head constantly, like your department head spinning off projects kind of thing that are going to grow into other departments, like real growth type of stuff. So we're going to take our Joey device, spin off a Eugenol assessment project. And then we're going to look at, so that once you're setting up multiple succession of projects. So when one project succeeds, the next project is, well, let's look at substituted Eugenol. And there's 15. So now we have a synthesis component to it. It's like, is it really worthwhile if the first one fails? No. Well, then let's go back and look for a different thing. Do we like the substitution idea, or do we want to have do we want to assess protective groups? Because then we go back to the cyclophosphamide, where it's a protective group rather than a straight up functional group that's modified. So that's really sort of what's happening at the master levels. Like, can we get like multiple projects? Not projects. Can we get like multiple sets of working groups out of this that are all going to be like functional in some way to an end goal product, way on the other side of the other, way on the other side of the other hand, can someone pick this up and use it in the hospital? That's what you're really like aiming for here, and that's what these master ranks demonstrate. More importantly, the master rank is able to communicate and understand things, being able to communicate that they understand things, and that there's a very long-term reward associated with what they're doing. This rank suggests that the employee has reached an elite level of proficiency, experience, and leadership within the company, and is being recognized as a key asset in the organization. This rank is where the employee develops and demonstrates a track record of successfully leading and managing complex projects and producing high quality work. A master rank is considered as an independent expert in their field and are expected to provide guidance and support to other employees and act as a leader for the company, almost independently of rank. All departments and subsidiaries can be spawned from attaining a master rank, and it is a significant milestone in a person's career with innovative potential. The master rank is the first rank which is able to revalue their own experiences in terms of being able to teach more effectively, and is the first that will reintroduce curriculum as play, albeit haphazardly. There is an enjoyment in work as play. So what happens here is like when you're a functioning master, it's like everything I learn now gets sort of like inverted and pushed back out. So it's like your black hole soaking up all of this stuff, the information, because of this. Mostly because it's the code, but mostly the code says it. But that code is based on, you know, the red seal, the trade certification. Same thing goes for product development. Same thing goes for information development. Same thing goes for marketing. It's a skill rank that says it's like, no, you're totally in the, like, okay, well, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, you will not, once you complete the once you hit the point where you cannot shut up, that's a master rank, because you're just right. You've learned how to be right consistently at a certain level of quality and complexity that you are there to shut other people down. Your job is basically to shut other people down, and like in a nice way, but your job is to say, like, well, go back to the other person who's like trying to learn, like, well, when they're looking for a mentor rank, that's kind of where you want to pair them up with. Like, well, what am I doing? Well, I'm going to shut you down most of the time, because it doesn't help in getting something that we're collectively working for, or it ends up being like, it's the pruning tree example. Well, we got to cut here because it won't bear fruit. But you're teaching them how to prune those trees. So basically, that's kind of that. 15 out of 25. Author. So in order to shut the master up, you go to our authorship. Peer-reviewed expert. Well, so it's basically, you've reached the point where you're your own expert, but that in a vacuum is not good enough. You have to go and then interact with other people of the same rank or higher. And that's what authorship is, because it's sort of like, okay, this is where the accolades and pat on the back come from. This is where everything gets smoothed over and polished at like the finite level, where it's okay, we can't go any further with this, but you know, we've all done it. Thank you too. Let's go through this thing on to the next thing. So let's go through 15 to get to 16. That's kind of what this is, but let's record everything. That's authorship. Well, the person has been authoring works collectively for innovative potential throughout their career. The author rank signifies the first time that a person has been completely independent and in control of a major publication or work of art. This rank is all about quality control for publication and adhering to the devil's in those details. It is a rank where it can only be described as learning to be fastidious. This professional publication can be internal or external to the company, but is one that will be submitted for anonymous peer review. An author has reached an elite level of proficiency, experience, and leadership within the company, and is being recognized as a key asset and leader in the organization. They are literally writing historical records for the company and actively planning its future. The author has learned how to successfully lead and manage complex projects and produce high-quality work. The author rank is recognized for their contributions to their field of expertise and the company. They are recognized as an authority in their field, and they have a legacy of having published articles, books, drawings, media, presentations, reports, and research papers. The author has said and written that which was needed to be said about their envisioned expertise, over 5 ranks of experience and hard work, and has provided instruction manuals for others who will come after. That's what makes him the author. It's like you're now, okay, shut up and teach someone else. The works of the author rank help to plan the future of the company and are the tools of economic growth. So basically, when you put together enough documentation to shut a master up, then you're an author. But in order to continue growing, so that basically means, so I got my mastery, but in order to shut myself up, we went and published a peer review. Published the peer review paper. We sat down and started. I sat down, saying we, but because it's always in conversation. But it's like here we sat down, we talked about it. Here's what is needed. Here's what's required. That work is in the past. We don't need the expertise. We don't need the expertise anymore. It's not a factual argument. It is now. What are you going to do with it? This is what we're going to do with it. What you're going to do with it, you're going to sit down and write the game plan out. That's where you start getting like business plan ideas. That's where you get like those big, long-term, overarching things. And when you complete all of that, it down on paper, get it down on whatever. You know, you're gonna have like a stack of paper, just like stacks and stacks of paper. It's gonna look like garbage, but it's like just to get this out of my head because it is the full game plan. If and when you complete all of that, and it's teachable and it's refined and it's valuable, and you can give it to someone else, they might not value it, but they have to be able to understand it and to complete it as an author. Go do something else. Oh well, shit. What does go do something else do? Well, that's when you get diversified. Diversify your portfolio. Diversikit. So a diversikit is an expert who has lateralized training and expertise. So you're an author, but you're bored, basically. And you have to go do something else. Because if you go further, you're going to get trapped doing something further. And you need another skill set to actually do this full self-realization. You need something different. So it's like, you like ecology, go do computer science. You like computer science, go do voice acting. Learn what it takes to do an oration. Learn how to act. You know, like, it's stuff like that. Go do something different because you're going to take your same chunk of expertise and high demand for quality and you're going to apply it someplace else. It will be, you know, you take a little dip, but you know how fast it is to bring that dip back up to your previously existing standard of quality. The diversikit rank is a broadening of the author rank, where the author has written about experiences that typically one ever specific direction. The diversikit is now learning and experiencing new areas and lateralization of their knowledge base. They are pursuing other interests. This is not a leadership role, this is a step back. Someone else has oversight of the diversikit. The real value of the diversikit rank is in how they apply or create new experiences from their body of previous knowledge as they encounter new challenges in the fields. It is an area of discovery and identifying good ideas. This is an extremely fertile experience in terms of personal development, adding that more new ideas are spawned and encountered by an author diversifying than the pressures for independence are off, and it is an era of expansion discovery, and when the person learns how to build resiliency and longevity and fortifications into the future plans. This is Renaissance. It's like the definition of Renaissance. This is Renaissance. There is very much a sense of you're not going back to the mistakes of the past. The future will be built correctly. As a diversikit for Innovative Potential Incorporated, the person is expected to be a highly skilled and experienced professional with a strong ability to lead and manage projects, mentor and coach other employees. They have learned expertise in multiple fields, and it is the first rank encountered when they can guide others in project planning and development. The diversikit is breaking down other identities and mental structures gained from their master and author ranks and becoming someone truly valuable to themselves. So you're kind of in that one step back. You're not forgetting. You're unlearning the requirements of the specialization to be able to sort of gain. You gain like 20 by learning how to do the specialization. You're now placed in the capacity to get like 40 specializations all at once. They're just like wham. Here's the wide field. You got the point. Here's the wide field. It's kind of reversed to the you get the field. It's like getting the field goal first and then the touchdown. That's kind of how it works. It's totally opposite. It's like you get the field goal first, and then you get the second chance for the touchdown. Rather than, okay, you got the touchdown, now get the field goal. No. It's opposite. Just kind of in that respect. Field specialist. So it's like, that's what kind of opens up the door to be able to specialize in the field. So the field is like, no, you're totally on your, like, most of this is like being groomed for just like, can we trust you to do something so freaking complex, totally on your own, that it doesn't like screw up. It's like, well, where do you even encounter these people? It's like, they're your board level executives most of the time. They're the people who are like independent, like they're the guy who opened up his own paint garage just because he was like a staunchly good at painting, and they're like just selling products to people. That's kind of like that's where this like world is sort of like collapsing out of. It's like, well, who's the most talented car? Like pimp my ride because I am the best. I'm on Pimp My Ride not because I'm the host, the most famous person. I'm the most talented car overhauler and short, low voltage electrician kind of in the automotive world. That's why I'm on Pimp My Ride. That's the field specialist. That's the author. Like, they've done everything. They might not be authoring stuff, but like that's the diversity. It's like, well, I learned how to fix cars, but then I became the artist, or I was the artist, and then I learned to fix cars, and then I learned to like pimp my ride, and I'm doing like I'm doing SUVs, and I'm putting like you kind of just like you learn your one thing first, and then you're just like, all the blossoms flower on the tree at the same time. That's but then as a field specialist, now you grow all the fruit at the same time. Person who can function with no resources. That's a field specialist. What the hell does that mean? A diversicate at large and a true elite. A field specialist eats challenges and is someone trusted by innovative potential incorporated to be able to independently deliver results no matter what. Solve any problem, invent any solution, and do it all without any resources. Because you like that challenge. A field specialist is an off-site expert and is often responsible for fixing other people's problems. They can synthesize and apply new information in the same action to solve problems in real time, and have demonstrated a capacity to be extremely resourceful in the non-office world. So this is totally like, forget documentation. I don't want to document another thing. I just like let them run around. Basically, that's what it is. This is when you get to run around because you're just culling bad ideas. You're so good at calling stuff, you just touch it and it turns back wrong, or good, or better, or bad, or perfect. The field specialist can be sent to any offsite location and act independently on behalf of the company to ensure high quality results. The field specialist is the most advanced rank before independence from all oversight is granted. The field specialists are considered as potential candidates for higher level positions and higher level responsibilities such as leading and managing a subsidiary of Innovative Potential Incorporated. Field specialists excel at factory inspections, quality control, product development, not product development, but product and development, and have a high attention to detail. They can also exercise tact and sophistication in delicate, sensitive, and complicated situations. Field specialists learn charisma and interpersonal skills to quickly resolve outstanding issues. These are the people that you send to someone else. They're your diplomats, they're your ambassadors. Like, fix this problem. Fix it immediately because we're not paying for it and we want this and we both want it. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, they're your fixers. It's like, we have a property we have a centennial property that just needs to be overhauled. Fix it. Okay. And that's basically it. Go fix. Like, that's the sort of resounding. Like, go fix it. This is basically this is the agricultural year for me, where it's just basically, oh, our tractor broke. We can't install the fence if our tractor is broken. Fix it. We don't have any weld. I don't know how to weld, so we have to fix it anyway. How do we fix it? You use the pressure of the vehicle to just basically force the thing back together. So it's like the field specialist invents workarounds on the spot, no documentation, and it still works and flies at the same time. To maintain the rate of production like that, it's just an act. You have to have an act for it. And you recognize and everybody else recognizes you have that knack. Entrepreneur, company builder and organizer, true independence. There is nothing left to learn from innovative potential. That's it. We're done. We're done. Show's over. Entrepreneur, a company builder and organizer, true independence. There is nothing left to learn from innovative potential incorporated. The individual can work for any corporation, government, or themselves and be successful. It's sad. It's sad to see you go. The entrepreneur rank is exactly as the title says, and these people have reached the point where they are forming their own corporation. They've already kind of done it, but now they're officiating it. Be it with or without Innovative Potential Incorporated. These people, if they leave Innovative Potential Incorporated, become future business, industrial leaders, and name it. The entrepreneur stage with Innovative Potential Incorporated, they are building an industrial expansion in their own full-cost subsidiary free from themselves. So there's basically, not only can you put in charge of innovative engineering, you went out and built your own innovative. That's the entrepreneur. And it's not done out of malice. It's just like, this is my skill level. I'm going to go build it anyway. So keep me building for you. Otherwise, I'm now your number one. I'm now your number one biggest competition because you can't. Because you don't grow with me. You don't grow with me. If you don't grow with me, I'm not your competition. That's what happens. That's what happens to your field specialist. Field specialist master stuff. It's like, I'm gonna go out. I can do all of this on my own and become your competitor. You want them to turn into the entrepreneur, and you want to like almost at all costs, because it might not be. You'd rather just have them close by, because they're people you don't hate. They're people you don't hate. You know what I mean? They're people you don't hate. So you just sort of is like, oh, they're there. They're there. They're doing their own independent thing, and we're welcoming that independent thing. And it kind of has to be that way, because if you lose them or piss them off at a field specialist stage, they go right to your number one competitor. You piss them off. All of that loyalty, all of that hard work, all of that everything has now just like malice and turned to spite. Never let that happen. Like, your field specialists are your field specialists are your company. How do you promote your company? Like, as a CEO, your field specialists are your own personal company. If you're the bartender and the cook is your field specialist. If you own a restaurant, you're the bartender, and you have a cook, the head cook is your field specialist. Never lose them. You will fucking curse yourself. But if they want to go out on their own, start a new different type of fusion restaurant or a new different restaurant, your best bet is like, you know what, I want to support you. Because you've been here, been so good, let's go into the next one together. That's what this is about. It's like, well, why did we lose them? It's like, because you didn't go into the next thing, the thing that they want to do, and it's always at the individual level. Why do you lose people? Why is this a high turnover? Why can't this happen? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, stop. When the person starts expressing that they want to do this stuff, or they're just like, you know what, I can do this stuff. Just be like, how can I help you? I did this. I know the bullshit of having to do all this. Entrepreneurship is like a one-stop shop. Once it's done, it's completed. It's the stuff that comes after the entrepreneurship, the actual business running, that wisdom. That it's only described as wisdom. It's like, I've done that. I've done this before. You know, let me help you and do it for you, because hey, I can save you time. You're still gonna have to learn. You're just gonna have to do it all yourself, but I can save time. That's kind of how it works. So, entrepreneur, a company builder and organizer. That's it. So all that entrepreneurship hype and whatever, it's like, go start a company. Well, how do you start a company? Well, it's a very short process. True independence. There is nothing left to learn from Innovative Potential Incorporated. The individual can work for any corporation, government, or themselves and be successful. We read this part already. If the entrepreneur is free for... Okay, so the person is a lead. Basically, you're a lead. The leadership within the company is being recognized as a key asset and leader in the organization. As an entrepreneur for Innovative Potential Incorporated, the employee is expected to be a highly skilled and experienced professional who has a strong ability to lead and manage products, mentor and coach other employees, and contribute to the company's culture and events. This is traditionally a C-suite position. It's worse than a C-suite position. It is an ownership position. They have also demonstrated a strong independent spirit and have shown the ability to acquire new money sources, write grants, develop and launch new products, services, or ventures. They are able to identify that which will never fail at the entrepreneurship level. Like you don't do entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is not really a process. It's just more of like an event. You don't engage in the entrepreneur event without knowing that from that event, all the rest of the stuff that follows is going to be worthwhile. And you know it's been worthwhile because you've seen enough stuff. So we're going to just pause it here for the world of innovative potential while we take a small break. Sponsorship by Innovative Potential. So, okay, we're halfway through. No, we're not. We're over halfway. There's only like 10 days left. So basically how this works is you've learned everything, and even societally, it's like nobody's batting an eye after they see you're at 5 years. No more excuses. It's like this is what it is. So for innovative potential, it's like why are you an entrepreneur? So how do you how do you know when you're not an entrepreneur? It's basically it's like when I was an entrepreneur, I basically wrote the grants. Basically that's what it is. Once you've completed shown the ability to acquire new money sources, write grants, develop and launch new products, services, or ventures, it's like, well, once that's all been like legally encoded in some way, shape, or form, it's over with. You're done. You can use the title entrepreneur on a resume. You know what I mean? It's just just like it's basically filling out a bunch of forms and making sure all the paperwork exists. It's paying the fees and then structuring it the way you want. It gets more complicated. It's like, well, they want you to do all this stuff at the beginning so you don't have problems, but it's like, this changes like 10 times. It's more of being able to write stuff down and getting your ideas kind of in the legal sense put up. If you kind of do everything right, it's like, well, I started my own business. Like, starting your own business is not entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, like, you can start businesses for other people and ensure that the businesses act as independent businesses. So I manufacture fully functioning businesses. It's like, I start gyms. This is a gym. I go in, I start a gym. The gym is a fully functioning business because I'm not putting it in a remote location. I'm putting it in downtown core. All my gyms are in downtown cores, and that's why they're always profitable. I start businesses to sell as a business. The idea here, though, is to keep the business. You keep the legal structure. You keep that which it is, because the next step further, it's like, because all of this is like college level sciences and stuff like that, and then product ideas, is like, your next step at Innovative Potential is patentee. You've gone from an entrepreneur, you've secured what your thing wants to look like, but now you're focusing in on what is going to be inside that business thing that you just built. So why would you build a business? It's like, to house this, and this is important. So the patenting is a patent filing author, and I distinguish this later on. So it's like, if you filed a patent, so I'm using the rank author here. So it's like, you're obviously an author at this point, but you're a patent filing author, because you can do a whole bunch of scientific work and a whole bunch of documentation without going after the law. Now you're going after the law. And what that means is the patent law offers the exclusivity for the nation and the number of people. This is where the world of innovative potential comes from. We went after 2 laws in 2 different countries to create this world. You know the movie guys? The movie guy's voice is like, in a world. That's basically where we're going. Patentee is a patent filing author. So if you write the patent, long story short, if you draft the patent, and file it as a provisional patent, congratulations, you're a patentee. A patentee is someone who has begun the process of legalizing their authority over a product at a national level. They are an entrepreneur with a solution to a problem and have recognized themselves the value of its exclusivity to Innovative Potential Incorporated. Patenting is the authorship of a national law, and the document is exposed to outside scrutiny and required dedication to defend it, its applications, and its consequences. The patentee is not an independent rank. It is extremely collaborative due to the narrowing nature of the patenting process itself. It is required that many experts provide consultation on how to structure the patent argument so that it can be defended in a court of law. This rank identifies a person who has truly identified something valuable and unique. A patentee must become versed in the patenting process and laws, manage their own portfolio, and draft their own documents. This is a rank that has declared that they are to be considered as a national expert in their field, not just the company, and are expected to provide guidance and support to other employees and act as a leader for the conglomerate, not just the subsidiary company. This is industrial leadership. So basically, when you're a patentee, you're saying, my idea is so good, it fixes so many problems, it's going to be the new big thing. And you put it in law that it is the new big thing. file it and the nation knows, because there's a whole process that occurs with this. So you could do the PCT patent. You can go the direct to nation route. You can get additional time put in. So however you want to structure what you want to structure, however big or important this is, depends on your strategy. And at this point in time, you're we're not the fact that we're not even like, it's like blowing our minds here. Just like, how do we afford your new thing? Basically, that's the next big thing. Does it work? Is the invention going to work? Are there proximities to it? Can we get an approximation of how it's going to work? Like, we're just dumbfounded by it, because it's like, well, we didn't think of it. And then now you're stopping us from like doing it, because now it's like, okay, well, now you just like set terms with the boss, because this is going to be something big. And how you set those terms, when all of that's said and done, and the third part of the independent legal reviewer sort of like, can we defend this as a law? Is this able to be a law in the first place, and then say it's a law? When it goes off to that, when other people go to have their conversations, that's when we call you patentee. That's when you've earned patentee, because it's now sort of out of your hand. The lawyers and the legal professionals are off, fighting the courts, whatever. Esquire. Bing. Promotion. Esquire. I'm using Esquire here because it's an old term, but it's an old term that's kind of like I'm gonna tell you how I'm using it, and you'll understand. It's basically an independently working person. Esquire is an independent estate management rating at heart. The person has demonstrated that they can create whole corporations and can leverage their expertise to become a national industrial leader on behalf of Innovative Potential Incorporated. An Esquire is a highly skilled, independent, and experienced professional who has a strong ability to lead and manage legal projects, mentor and coach other corporations, and demonstrate exceptional expertise in legal and written matters. They have also demonstrated an independent capacity to build their patentee ideas and develop business models geared on developing and commercializing first-to-market prototypes and products. It's like an E-Squire, not an Esquire, an E-Squire. Like a knight and squire kind of thing. It's more of like, you're not fully patented, but you're able to do everything. Like, you're apprenticing for the full patent monopoly guy. That's basically kind of what the Esquire is. E-Squire. Like a virtual squire kind of thing. They are considered Esquire. I like Esquire because it's like something that's already happened. You're being an E-Squire, but you're an Esquire. They are considered an expert in legal matters and are expected to provide guidance and support to other working groups. They do not have to be a professional lawyer. This is the role when arguing for the validity of the patent itself or other major project funding application. So I include other major project funding application because it could be something like, well, we're gonna do a $2 million grant application as part of our project. You put an Esquire in charge of that because they have, like, it's as much as a public-facing law that this money will be used in this manner and regard as it will as the project itself. So these are like this level, like really high-end project planners. Like, you think of an engineer in your company, these people are like well beyond engineering. They're like, there's multiple engineering companies working under these people. That's what an Esquire is. And if you can sort of do all of this, so it's basically, so how do you get the promotion from Esquire to Pioneer? Well, the Esquire is there to defend the patent itself. So not only are you defending the written argumentation of the law and the law, you're doing all of the other stuff at the same time also. And sort of like when you've completed this bucket list of in order to get the promotion, I need to lead and manage legal projects. The patent kind of counts as this, but you do have to have all these other buttresses put in place to be So I'm gonna draw attention to the fact that it's like develop a business model geared on developing commercializing first market prototypes and products. So basically, what does that mean? It means basically you have to be able to build your own prototype independent of anyone else. And when I kind of say like this is why this comes way after your field specialist, because your field specialist is able to do all of the stuff for other people. Like when a field specialist shows up, it's like I'm here to do your job for you on behalf of your client company because something fucked up. They get so good at that. It's like I'm gonna make my own company. I can go make my own company at that point. What's in my own company? It's like, well, your own company is just gonna do whatever service. If there's no new product, idea, or invention coming through, you're just gonna go back into the service industry. Nobody cares. You're just another consulting firm. You have nothing there's nothing special about you. That's what it is. You can go to hell and back basically, and if there's still nothing special within that entire market sector, it's just another perfect competition. It's just another pissing contest of whose brand is going to be the most attractive or offer the best deal or whatever. Dude, you see them on the TV commercials and you're just sick of them because it's the same friggin' thing over and over again by the other three companies. It's like in your car commercial, everybody's financial in the car commercials are exactly the same. It's like, tell me what you've patented in your car that I'm not going to get on your competition. We've patented the Tesla engine. Nobody will ever be able to provide this type of performance ever because Tesla owns the patents and the entire factory development patents and the manufacturing patents and all these other processional patents to deliver you this car at this price. Nobody else is doing that. There are other electric vehicles, but this is the one product that is the hyper specialized idealized product. Other people will not be able to do this product for 15, 20 years or whatever because it's illegal. Basically, it's illegal. And by that point, the 20 years will catch up to the point where here is another 20 years of which you've been knocked behind. So that's the better sale point than the financing point, because all the financing is just that's a hard sell. So the financing, cars took a crap in 2003, 2004 kind of thing before the banks did because market got oversaturated or something, or they're too expensive, or the point is the patented features on your vehicle make it new, make it be better than the other competition that you have currently available, because otherwise a car is a car. Full stop. It's like, why do I want a car without emergency brakes? You know what I mean? Full stop. So that's sort of the Esquire. That's sort of the patentee. That's sort of what's going on with the field specialist. So you can do the field specialist, but now you're going to build your own company. But you know from the failures of others what you want in your perfect company and how that's going to work. It's you work for the perfection, but that's sort of but you're stylizing. You're able to stylize your own perfection, and that's how they're just sort of spinning around each other. So once sort of all those milestones are hit, you're okay, well, let's do something. You kind of get to the point where it's well, now what am I working towards? It's well, you're working to be a pioneer. What's a pioneer? Well, you've already sort of proven that here's your idea, and your idea is going to have this mass suppression field on it. So it's going to be the little snowflake kind of thing. But at the same time, you still got to get that product to market, because technically it's all brand new. It's not an innovation. It's a full-on invention. Forget the word innovate. Forget the word innovation. It's bullshit. It's invention. You're going after straight up invention. That's the pioneer phase, because now you got to build it. You got to build the infrastructure to build it. You got to build the machine to build the machine to build the machine kind of thing. To house the machine that's building the machine. So that's the pioneer phase. It's a new product developer in the real, like, this is a new product because it's still under patent scrutiny, but you know when you're bullshitting, and you're not. So you've done your homework, you've done your wheel of asset creation, you've done through the research. There's nothing. There's this problem exists because this problem exists, and this is the first known solution for it. That's what a patent is. So a new product development. The pioneer. So pioneer. So you're an esquire. Your esquire is now turning into a pioneer, a real pioneer. The pioneer has made their company value from nothing, achieved through acts of asset creation and acquisition. The pioneer has shown how the market will respond to the new patent once it is issued and the product is able to be sold. Typically, this is done through the creation of educational and marketing tools, ancillary or supporting products, and acquisition of investment dollars or support. These actions are intended to prepare others to adapt to the new technology found in the patentee rank documents. Additionally, the pioneer is responsible for documenting the expertise required to identify the sizes of markets created through the patentee documents. It's a type of insurance and guarantee for investors that what is being developed isn't hype. The pioneer reports are not revenue-based, but are justification-based. In fact, there are no revenue projections because the pioneer works from an economic and market perspective to justify the creation of the national monopoly laws. It's creating the nation. The pioneer is creating the nation. How many people will benefit, and at what creation, and at what frequency, and at what cost are all more important questions to have answers for than revenue. The pioneer is prepared to be the owner of an exclusivity law declaring a national monopoly. Revenue is almost legally the incorrect metric or model to use. This is a startup gaining wealth scenario. It's money from nothing. Free money. Free money, here it is. This is how you make free money. Your pioneer makes free money. Not a measure of a frequency of trade. That's what revenue is. It's a frequency of trade. How much is this being sold for, and how many times are you doing it? That's revenue. Nobody gives a shit about revenue. Your bank gives it. The whole reason why all those people died is because the bank gave a shit about revenue. Go watch that video. That's a good video. The pioneer has defined the route to monetization as the first to market. The pioneer set the rules for the monopolized market's creation, an industry that follows the patent's approval. So in learning to take on the responsibility of the monopoly itself, you're setting, so the pioneer, for me, the pioneer is writing the health value economics. So it's like you kind of know what is out there, but in preparing the health value economics document, you're taking, here's the whole field, and you're cramming it back down to here's the price point per unit. I don't know how many I'm going to sell because that value is based on another metric. And without this monopoly, we can't do that. But the bet on this, and sort of here's the reason, well, it's like the reason why I have the monopoly is because you died. There was nothing before, and there's still nothing now. There's other issues. But that's sort of the whole point. It really just like compresses everything to the point where it's like, so now you get to the point. So congratulations, you wrote the documents that are saying, no, my new car is going to be economically effective because it burns water and gasoline at the same time. It's more fuel efficient because it's burning 2 types of fuel in addition to having a battery. I'm using 3 types of energy sources to go the same distance. My fuel requirements are supplemented by electric and hydrogen and water. I want to say it's hydroelectric, but it's electrolysis combustion. But it's like a fuel supplement, like putting NOS in your engine. twice the distance at half the fuel. And it's partially electric. So it's like, those are sort of the big game changers that I would push through, where it's like, okay, well now you have these hybrid vehicles that can have way better fuel mileage. You can hybrid the hybrids again, burn 2 types of fuel, and be able to switch from one expensive fuel source. When it gets too expensive, you switch to the cheaper alternative. My one car can burn 10 times the fuel without having to do any calibrations or any changes. That we patented a car to burn 4 types of fuel or run off 4 different fuel sources. And then we built the prototype for it. And now we're building the factory for it. That's sort of like, so when you kind of do all of that and say well, it's going to make everything better because not everybody is so fucking poor anymore. You don't have to go through these emotional roller coasters of here comes another gas price hike, or here comes we can't go spend money in the economy because our gas prices are too high. So everybody suffers because nobody can travel. That's why it's valuable. That's where new money is new money, there's old money and there's new money. This is where new money is created at this level. At these levels, anything past from field specialist to entrepreneur, that's where new money gets made, 17 to 18. You either get that, you kind of get this re-envision process, and then it goes again, and then you're just bam, you're on the home stretch. Because everything else is just business as usual. So after you've sort of established all the rules of how this new market behaves, you're at the artificer level. You're a prototype producer. So it's if you go to WoW and you see those legendary weapons, that's kind of what you're making. It's you're the guy with a 3D printer making those things. But you start with the 3D models, you go to the 3D prints, but now it's no, screw this. I'm gonna go find all of those rare materials and make myself a meteor sword because that's what's in need. Or better yet, I'm gonna patent and make my own meteor sword kind of level. This craftsmanship is insane. You're not Michelangelo. Michelangelo might be appropriate but inappropriate. It'd be Michelangelo's just the artist of the chapel, but there's an architect to the chapel. That's kind of what the artificer is here. It's you're in an art. You're in a. I would call it more. Remember the architect from Matrix? I couldn't think of that one, but it's it's the art. It's Will. It's worse than it's Will Ferrell in his skit as the architect in the Matrix rather than the Matrix guy himself. That's the difference. That's the difference on this. That's the difference on this one. Because it's the whole thing is learning how to make product and learn how to make mass-produced products, and then how to do all of these things up to standard and code and get it all up and running. But then finally you've put all this book and then you've put all of these books together. You've done all this work, and it's just no. At this point, it's the one thing that you always wanted was the one thing that never existed. That's your artificer level. You're building your first sets of prototypes to the patent itself. So it's basically the one who makes artifacts. The Artificer rank at Innovative Potential Incorporated has proven they can create new technology prototypes, document that new technology creation process, and then preserve those natal prototypes and learning pieces for historical purposes. The Artificer, regardless of specific expertise or training, has demonstrated exceptional skill in technology and creation, and has developed, designed, and crafted new technologies or processes that have been or will be adopted by the company and the public. Or other companies, basically. So that's sort of, it's sort of like, it goes really, it loops back into the mastery, where it says like, you're able to do all of this on your own. You don't need oversight. Your mastery has oversight. These final ranks of the art system at Innovative Potential is totally independent. You don't need anybody. Because you've gotten to the point where like you don't need anybody. Like you need to like basically expand the rest of this like ideology. You need to manifest the rest of all this other stuff, but you don't need anybody to do that, and you've proven it. And that's the real take home. That's independence when you're going for like national independence. Like this is kind of like how you climb the ranks and how you like get it. These are the ranks. These are my ranks, and these are my ranks in my company. There'll be different things, but if you want to get to the point where all I do now is make YouTube videos or Twitch streams, to be able to basically say like, here's the bullshit I'm documenting. I did document, so it's like, okay, I skipped, but anyway, you can make an artifact for a new technology. So you might have made a 3D, you might use a 3D printer, but something like this is like, okay, well now we can like. Now the company that hires you or the group that hires you is basically, we've seen you. We've seen you work. We've seen the work that you produce. We've seen this. Here's this other project. Here's this other thing that we want. Here's this other thing that we don't have. Can you do it? Can you do it on time? Can you do it independently? This is where like the whole company won a contract to be able to do this other cool project. That's kind of how it works. But you gotta like complete all of this at least once to have your company be a valuable company. So soak that up for a second. And then it's inventor. So by the time you're sort of completing your artificer stage, inventor is here to basically be, this is now a nationally recognized person. This is almost like a nationally recognized job. Like if you want to put it as a military rank, inventor has a process. It has a known process. It has a known like thing. You've done all of this stuff. You've been through all of this bullshit. It's an intellectual type of rank. But the inventor is a patent issued inventor. You have to have a patent issued to like legally be like, that's the kind of the way it is. You have to have a patent issued to legally be called an inventor. You can use that as a job title. We want an inventor. We want to hire an inventor. There's like 11 million inventors in the United States. Anyone can kind of become one, but you got to do like a lot of homework on this because there's a lot of ideas that sort of approximate each other. That it's like, no, it is a case-by-case basis. It does take, like this, to become an inventor, it took 4 years. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and finally at the end of 2021. It took me 5 years to become an inventor in the United States. I also did it at the same time in Canada, so it took me 5 years to become an inventor, to become a patented, certified inventor. It took me 5 years. Because there is this back and forth. Because there is this like, yeah, it's like a professional designation. It's like, well, you're a surgeon, congratulations. You can cut someone open, stick your hand in the goo inside, and then take it back, do like cut a chunk out of them and sew them back up so that they don't die. That's a surgeon. Congratulations, you're a certified surgeon. That's what it is. The inventor rank is achieved when the person's first patent is issued. You only got to do it once. Because you can't be a double inventor. Like the lovely woman Lisa Lloyd, go check her out. She is a multiple patented. She's a multi-time inventor. not to discount she's patented 7 times. Not to discount her patenting every time. It's more that for the first time that she patented, she can call herself an American. Like she is an American inventress. She is. She can use that to her own whatever. How the rest of her industry plays out is literally almost a completely different story. But she can use the title American inventress. The first time she does it. The second time it's just sort of like it kind of loses its magic a little bit. It's not the less special, but you know, put a little subscript or two. Like that's what I mean. How do you sort of like say, oh well, she'd be inventor to the power of 7. Like she'd invented 7 times. She's a 7-time inventor. So it's like put inventor subscript 7 at the bottom to say how many patents you're issued on, how many inventions you're associated with, how many inventions you're invented. This is more specific because I am like so patents can have multiple inventions associated with them. So it is sort of like in my case, this is like the only person on the patent. That's sort of like I would have that as a professionally designated title. It's a very difficult to obtain designated title. Because there's a lot of patents that don't see it through. They don't really get it. It's sort of like, oh, here's an idea. It's a lot of times it becomes here's an idea I had while doing something, but never sitting down and saying, well, here's the documentation that says that's not the case. Sit down and do the research. So in your research phase on the wheel of asset creation, that usually just sort of like stops all those ideas dead. Okay, so an inventor. What is an inventor? An inventor is a patent-issued inventor. The inventor rank is achieved when the person's first patent is issued. Innovative Potential Incorporated is pleased to acknowledge the legal definition of a national inventor. Not only does the person have legal recognition, but they are now in complete control of a subsidiary corporation that has been built up to be profitable, with ancillary products designed to move and sway market players to adapt and purchase the technology from the subsidiary and Innovative Potential Incorporated. The person has demonstrated the capacity to invent products, laws, and technologies, and now is the only legal representative of that entire national marketplace. It's like having an ambassador rank. That's an inventor. That's where it is. That's your echelon. That's where you're functioning. It's like there's no one else. So for the United States, it's like there's nobody else out of 370 million people that like 300. And I'm jumping ahead. It's like 340 million people that can do this or know how to build this. And I'm like, no, not like legally no. That's how like where this is coming from. That's why it's like having the only open heart surgeon. Like you're the first open heart transplant surgeon in the country. That's kind of like that's the kind of I want to call them panic attacks or not panic attacks. They're just like you have to keep destroying your own identity until you get the document itself. And that's sort of the wheel of asset. And that's sort of the wheel of asset creation to help walk you through that process because it is like no, there's an identity shift. There's multiple identity shifts. Where it's just like okay, well we have to do this, then we have to do this, and then it's completed, and then we have to do this. It's like no, you're going through these ranks to be able to say, I have done all of that. The patent is as much a projection forward as it is a recordance of what has already been done. It's the hourglass. It's the grain of sand in the hourglass. The individual patent is the grain of sand in the hourglass. You're going ahead into the future as far as you've been in the past. And then documenting it. And that sort of sets up to the final rank. So once you're patented, this is it. So, documentarian. A person creating constitutional documents. So that doesn't mean constitutional documents in terms of the United, like, it can be. It'd be something like your senator, your congressman doing these types of things for the company of the United States. That's kind of what it is. The final employee rank, documentarian, is the 24th and the highest achievement rank in the art system. This person is a paragon to the nation itself, and that person has reached the highest level of proficiency, experience, leadership within the company, and has been recognized as an expert in their field and for their contributions to the company. This person has a deep understanding of the world and society around them, the company's processes, culture, and policies, and has a proven track record of successfully leading and managing complex projects. The documentarian has also completed a comprehensive record of their work and contributions to the company, known as rank portfolio, that showcases the totality of their work, internal and external to the corporation, because you can come and go as you please, basically. But the acknowledgement of the documentarian is when the company's constitution and legal bylaws are completed, documents that will help to guide others of similar qualifications in the event of retirement, sale, sabbatical, or other reason to leave the industry that they themselves have created through the art system. It's sort of like succession planning, but not. It is upon attainment of the documentarian rank that the new company is completely able to maneuver on its own, with instructional and legacy documents proving that the person actually created as much value as the corporation is worth. The documentarian is essentially creating biography notes about their own thought processes, preferences, encounters, frustrations, and paths of least resistance to share with others in the conglomeration on how to better succeed and faster, what works and what doesn't work, and how that will be accepted or rejected by the other people with whom the documentarian has worked with over the years. The documentarian rank accepts that the company's history, legacy, instructions, constitutions, bylaws, and essence has been satisfactorily recorded to the point where the documentarian can simply walk away from the company itself. This rank is the legal record of recognition of the employee's contributions and commitment to the company, and is one of the highest and most prestigious milestones possible in a career within a potential corporation. The person is now free to hold positions in the conglomerate that is in a potential corporation. The person is now eligible for S-rank privileges, autonomy, conglomerate voting rights, and will have even more of a significant influence on the direction of the company and its development. They may also be considered as a potential candidate for higher level positions and higher level responsibilities such as leading and managing a conglomerate of innovative potential incorporated or owning their own industry of innovative potential work. It's basically you can do whatever you want, go wherever you want. Why do you want to be with us? It's like, well, you want to be with us because we let you do what you want. That's that's sort of the freedom of freedom. It's like you've proven that you're not an idiot with freedom. So, here's more. And this is the process by which you sort of go through, and that's it. So, like, basically, once you hit that, it's like, go for round two. It's like, that's sort of where the prestige rank comes in. So, basically, you become like, you go through the whole processes again because it's someone else's company. You're never going to be a CEO until you're the CEO of your own company. You go through the bullshit that everyone else has had to go through. But your own personal legacy gets etched and carved into stone on the triumphs, the pitfalls, the bullshit of having to go through each and every single one of these I'm gonna call them milestones. They're not milestones. They're worse than milestones. They are they're ranks. Because there's always something. Because there's like 8 billion people in the world. There's only 10 billion people in the world. The companies can grow to like almost an infinite size kind of thing. There's no real like rate limit to the size. There's an ideological limit as to why we don't do something and a different company exists, and that's kind of it. So this kind of like allows you to be able to start, at least be able to know, to found one of these types of companies. It's sort of the road businesses do, and then how to correct other people's businesses based on what you know, to help them. And then finally getting to the point where I don't want to worry. Getting to the point where it's like my business is my business, and then move forward with that, and getting protection for the business and building the business upright and filling that business with stuff that you have to build it all yourself. You have to build it all by hand. You have to build it all by scratch. You have to go to the trade shows. You have to build the marketing. You have to build the guides, and you build it up. And by the time you're done, you have something that is valuable, and you have something that can be sold. Nobody's gonna buy anything. Like, the whole point is like, well, I'm gonna keep this company forever. I'm not getting rid of it. Potential, but it is something that now can be allow other people to sort of say, okay, well, you can now issue shares. You can put a valuation on it. You can walk away. I can retire. I can give it to someone. I can put someone else in charge. I can do certain things. It frees you up. It allows for a whole bunch of, I don't know what I want to call that. It's like you can it's not artificial, but you can free it up to be something more it allows me to retire early. You know what I mean? It allows this whole project entity to fit within something else. So it's like, if I own the industry, this can now be sold to the region, or it can fit within the region, and there's enough people that can fill in a regional job to be able to say, oh, okay, well, there's enough people now that we can do this. And it goes to development, or it can move to a region, or it can find a better house, or it can, it's all about moving onwards and upwards. And once you kind of hit the top, it's like, yeah, this is the freedom. This is the freedom that education has provided for me. Ironically, talking from a box in a box. Talking from a box in a box in a box. This is the freedom that education has provided for me. And it can provide it for you. You have to know what you need that doesn't exist. For me, that was a cure for cancer. And in that process, I got a machine that makes cures. That's the world of innovative potential. And other diseases. So it does a lot. These are the 24 milestones of, these are the 24 atoms of the innovative potential orphan. It took me 35 years to do that. It took me roughly 30 years, almost from the get-go. Some of it is used in the general case, so basically up till you're like an enlist, basically to your high school. No, citizen. So citizen would be like a second year junior high kind of thing, or grade 8. That's sort of the equivalent that I'm expecting in the summer. And you kind of know what you want at that age. So it's been like 25 years of just like straight up, this is what we got, this is what we're getting, this is what it is, this is how you make multiples of it, this is how you make this is the instruction manual on how you make multiple monoclonal antibodies. This is the instruction manual for how you make multiple immune inhibitors. This is the instruction manual on how you make multiple intratumor injectables and device activatable drugs. It's the same instruction manual. It's the same device. So I'm prestiging to basically be alive. I'm prestige alive at this point. And that's kind of where you get to see like someone like Lisa Lloyd coming out and saying, this is my career, let me help you because I'm still like, because I'm good. She's like, this is the part where innovative potential kind of hits me the most, where by the time you start prestiging in your own career, in your like 30s to 50s, you got 20, you can't, as a child, you can't plan beyond your 25th kind of year. As a 20-year-old, you can kind of get a glimpse of what your 50th year is going to look like, but by the time you're 30, you kind of know what the path is to 50. Doing this as a prestige, basically doing all this over again for the next 20 years is sort of what I'll be doing. But that's sort of that's the Lazarus Project, basically. From Mass Effect, it's like, okay, well, what other companies can you work with? Like having built a component of the Lazarus Project to like get like someone resurrected, right? You built a piece of medical equipment from sci-fi. You invented your own sci-fi thing and made it real and made it work. What can you do for another disease? What can you do for a different like thing? That's sort of what happens from, in your 30s to your 50s. And how many times can you do it? Let's get a group of people to backfill that drug diversification screening process and start working on other drugs. Start working on other diseases. Let's build a remote controlled bionic leg so people can walk. Let's go build Bill Gates' toilet. Pinwheel in there. Pinwheel powered dynamo in the pisser. That's sort of like, where do we go from here? And that's the prestige ranks. So do you want to go through all, well, do you really need to go through all that prestige stuff, or can you just build it and have it done, stick it on YouTube, and have the YouTube video act as the path? That's sort of the thing. So can you get the one-off YouTube that will be enough legal court balance to basically shut down someone else's path? And that's sort of like what's happening now. It's like, okay, well, now with YouTube taking everybody's publicly declaring their ideas and stuff. It's like, well, you got a timestamp on the video and it's uploaded. The timestamp of the video is 316 and 124. So when you present this in a court case for an invention, a legally patented invention, like that's where this first pass comes. It's like, well, is there any video preceded Bill Gates' toilet, so he can never patent it. So there's no monopoly on it, and it's just sort of starts existing. You kind of accelerate it way faster by joining up with the larger company, because somebody else can say, oh well, I can, I'm a writer, I can go patent it for you. I'm a patent lawyer, I can go do this stuff for you. I can show companies. That's really where everybody's sort of just here's the stuff I've let go for free. Pick it up, start making it, and get it. If you really need to have, if you can get beyond the free trial, if you can use a free sample, perfect. If you really need something more, you're going to pay. I don't need a new toilet that badly. Bill Gates does. So now he's going to have to pay. That's kind of the way it goes. Anyway, that is the disclosure for the toilet solution. We're going to stick a little piss-powered electrochemical pinwheel inside of the urinary collection thing of the toilet or urinal, and or waste receptacle. It could be a pot or a hole in the ground, and it's going to spin and generate bleach out of the urine that is used to power the device itself, and it can also be hooked up to a solar panel. Maybe be like little like those bidets that have those little robotic like hands. The little hand comes out, you piss on it, and it takes bleach, and then retracts so you can defecate. And maybe it might even be infused into a robotic, integrated into a semi-robotic or robotic bidet arm, where the bidet arm comes out with a little pinwheel. It can spray water up, and it can power itself with urine, force of the urine, and do that. Have that in your toilet. That in. That's the world of innovative potential. And in that way, that's not even, and that's not even, that's not even half of it. That's not even the end of it. It's like, and in that way, that little piss pot, that little engine that could, cured more diseases than